Ah, did so much work. What's up, everybody? Go to your 2001. Today we're gonna do and what if Deku was a Todoroki? Um, I I was looking for ideas to do, but I just found a good way. So, I will explain this. Um, Izuku's mother will have a the same quirk as she did in the original. It'll just be same. Nothing to the story. Now, we're gonna start off around 9 months before Endeavor's wife, Rin Todoroki, gets pregnant with Shoto. Now, before Endeavor's kind of starting to see that maybe this is not going very well. He can't have the perfect child with this woman, so he just has to somehow fake his death or kill her and these children, or just completely abandon them to a point. Because he can't find the perfect child that he wants, the perfect one that merge both quirks. And these failures are just not promising enough. So he would try one more time. After doing his thing, what he did to Ray for the other children, he would wait. But he would now see that what's the real point? This is not gonna be working for him. So he just thought, might as well look for someone else. So he says, I'm gonna go on a business trip. I won't be around in Japan. So I'll be probably for not long. I'll be back soon. I'll say Rin wouldn't really care. She would just kind of be very confused why there's going to be a business trip during this time. But she says, okay. Endeavor, he gets a phone call when he's away from that terrible mistake of place. And he says, what? It is best. He's one of his friends who was best man was saying, Angie, I got one. I got a good one. What do you want? And I would say this guy's name is Cole. Cole would say, I got a perfect one. She's beautiful, gorgeous, hot, and why don't you just take her? But her quirk, it's something else. It might not seem really cool, but if it was with yours, it'll do some pretty big damage. What's her name? Inka Midoriya. I'd say her family, Midoriyas, are actually one of the richest people in Japan, more richer than All Might. They can buy Japan as their private kind of place if they wanted to. But they're really more of a humble, kind of relaxed family. So, yeah. And you would say, the Midoriyas. Alright, I'll check it out. This will be a younger Inko. She will be more ignorant. And he would go to, how should I say, to the place. He would say, I'm Todoroki, I'm NG Todoroki. They'll talk, hang out. He would see that she's really sweet, but also extremely stubborn and very battle focused. And then he would get what he wanted. After a couple times, she would say, Angie, when you come back, I'll be back soon, eventually. If I don't come back, that means I have other things. Promise. And after he would leave. Oh yeah. Just don't call. Because that phone, he gets an excuse. It's my, agency phone. Alright, see you later. And he would leave. Making an excuse. So she wouldn't really call him, but she'll try. Now back, right day where Todoroki is going to be born. He's seasoned. He sees that Todoroki's perfect. Just perfect. Look at this. Just amazing. Spectacular. Now this would and I would say Zuko's already been born before Todoroki. How? This is about 3 months before. There's a 3 month, no, actually a 2-year gap before they're born. That would mean that it's a little older. And UA is actually a college in this one. Yeah, college! Woohoo! Because if I really thought about it, UA doesn't really seem like to be a great place to be a high school. Alvarado sees it as a college place where they're all adults, 18 and above, and they all can make their own decisions. But high school, they can't even make their own decisions. They're around only 14 to 15, or like around 14 to 17 or something. So I'm gonna make it a college. UA is actually a college. We're all around ages of 20, 18 to I don't know what age. I don't really care. Nezuko would be born just 2 years before Todoroki. And he would be actually have pretty good kind of life. But before that, actually he'll have 3 sisters. So he'll be the youngest in the family. Yeah. Inko already had 2 children with Asashi. They had a divorce. Things didn't go so well between them. So yeah. After a couple of his years, they would treat him pretty cool, being a rich family. After taking to the quirk doctor around age of 4. Now, this is when the quirk doctor would say, I'm afraid your son does not have a quirk. Now, Inko would say, oh, thank you, doctor. and she would take him home. And things would not go the same. Poor young Zuko. Now, Inka would say, you go to your room. I don't want to see you, brat. You quirkless brat. He would go to his room and kind of be surprised that his mother would automatically just turn on him. Now, I would say it'll be around the age of... He'll be bullied by Koski, being their friends, and they'll be kind of the second getting richest family around. And it's pretty bad. Being bullied. His two sisters would already bully them pretty bad. And Zuko wouldn't take it very lightly. Now this is around the age where I would say the gods above say it's time to pass to the next user of this great power. Now, I want to say Zeus would unlock the keys and said, Hades, you know what to do. Bring it. Hades would give half of a shining, like a cracked orb, and Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus will have the last piece of it as it will actually reunite as one orb, and it'll be like flashing colors. This is what the orb will look like. Each of them would have one piece. Zeus would have the top part, Poseidon would have the bottom right, and Hades would have the bottom left. So yeah, that's the pieces as they reunite and make this crystal, this orb. Now Hades would say, give it to a boy called Koski Bakugo. Hey, Poseidon would say, he's too prideful. Give it to a boy called Todoroki. Zeus would say, I'd rather give it to Izuku Midoriya. He can use the power well. And because he's quirkless, he can use it to his full set of his power. To his full set of the power. Because having a quirk would actually block the abilities. Then Zeus would say, Hades would say, won't that make him immortal? Yes. We gave it to everyone who had quirks. They can only use half of it. It's the 9th user. So then they would say, okay. Hades said, I agree. I want to know what this boy would do with the power. Become a villain or become a hero. And he says, I've seen a lot of people become, between the 8 users of these kind of powers, become mostly villains. Because that's what some of them would do, actually. It's only out of the 8, 3 became heroes. So yeah. Now, between one of these 3, one of them was users of One for All. Yes. And I would say this was Nana. After she gave it back to, gave One for All to All Might. Every time All Might uses his powers, his quirk would dwindle just a bit. So One for All is kind of part of this thing, in a way. It kind of is. Now, because it was with her for a long time. Now, I would say this is when they would have given him the crystal would go down to the earth as it would start to make its way to the ninth user. Before it would go to its ninth user, it would go to where All Might is and take last of One for All from All Might. Take a full, like all of it. Now this, and as it would leave. All for One for All would actually know it's time to go, because All Might didn't found the successor of the ninth user, so it would just go with its other half. Now this orb being fully complete would go to the ninth user. Woohoo. Yeah, it would. As all Armin would have left is like the Emperor's One for All. He will still go the buff. He will still buff up until his final act with All for One. That's the day he'll lose all of the embryos from the leftover embryos of One for All. And as the crystal would kind of now go to Izuku's room, and it would be like kind of floating over him, and as it'll finally start to settle and drop down, and as it'll start to lights of tendrils start to wrap around Izuku's body, and as it would start to do the process of becoming with the ninth, going to the ninth user, and as it would start to fade into Izuku, it'll take like around 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, it would kind of be over. Izuku will be age of 6 when this happens. Now after this would change his little physical body, removing the pinky toe from removing the extra joint from his pinky toe. And yes, changing his kind of skeleton just a bit. A few tweaks here and there, Stronger bone that actually tough as diamond, but light. Really light. And the next Izuku wakes up, he'll feel really strong. Well, good. He would make his way and he'll hear a voice say, "Brat, come down and do your work." And he'll say, "Yes." Izuku would start doing his work. And around this time, his sister would actually be like a year older than him. Izumi and Iski would kind of start to laugh and say, "What's wrong? You want us to help you? Away. Forgot. We don't want to. You're a quirkless loser." Now this would make Jude kind of put his head down and continue walking his way downstairs. And Sasha would be back, actually. Yes, he would be back. Now, as it would start to, well, Deku would start to fix the breakfast. They'll all be kind of there. Sasha would be the only one who would actually be fair to Izuku. Sasha, she would say, "Aren't you gonna let him take a break for today?" Inko would say, "No, why would I do that? He's just a kid." Yes, he's a kid, I don't care. He's a quirkless kid. Now Sasha would be really pissed off with this, thinking, "Wow, didn't know you were this heartless." "Well, I'll be leaving, honey. Girls, get ready to go to school." You know, you can get education, and you can be heroes. The girls would nod their heads, and they would make their way. Each of them would have a strong quirk. Izuki would have a pyrokinesis quirk. Then Izumi would kind of have strong animal control quirk, higher than that guy from class. She can literally just without, if she wants, and even in her sleep to control something, she can. And it has to kind of do what she says. Now, after this, Sachi would call his friends. And his friends would actually be some pro heroes like Hawks, All Might, Toshinori, Razorhead, President Mike, and King Vlad. Yeah, that's it. That's his friends. He would be the number 4 hero. Now they'll be talking. Toshinori would have said, "So, what's up with the kid?" And he says, "Oh, Zuku? He's, I feel bad for him. I wish I could convince Inko to stop abusing him, but she wouldn't listen to me, even though we're married. She does whatever she wants." Now, Sasha would say, "Zuku, you can stop." Zuko would say, "But Dad, I still had to do this before Miss Midori comes home." Now, the day will pick up by this, and as I always say, why does he call his mother Miss Midori instead of his mother? Yeah, that's what she did to him. He's not allowed to call her his mother. Reckless. I really wish I could do something for him. I just can't. I tried to do something, Inko would get mad, yell at me for 24 hours, and I don't want to hear that. It's very difficult. I feed him still, and help him here and there. After Zuko cleans the room, he would go say, "I'm going to my room." And as he would go to his room, and he would close it. All Might would say, Toshinori would say, "Do you want us, to just kind of hang out with him?" I wish, yeah, I would. He's just not great here. He's completely just a sad apple. Now, Izuku would be sleeping, and that's when he would kind of flick his finger, and as they'll hear a huge crash in his room, they will go up and say, Sasha will say, "Izuku, are you okay?" And he'll look at the bruise on his finger, and he'll say, "Yeah, I'm fine." Tears started to go through his eyes, Izuku's eyes, and said, I don't know what happened. I kind of just flicked my finger, and this happened. All Might would look, and he would be surprised, and he would say, "No way." Everyone around in this room would know what was it. They all look surprised, and that's when Ozawa said, "Does he really have your quirk?" I guess. Then my successor, if that is, he must also have it. Now, they'll say, "Alright, we just keep." Now, All Might would say, next to would say, "Young boy, just calm down. We'll take you to the hospital." They'll take him to the hospital. They'll kind of fix it up. There won't be any broken bones. It's just his skin's just really bleed. He's just really bleeding, that's all. After a couple minutes, it would actually stop bleeding very fast. And that's when they noticed that his body's making more blood just like that to replace the blood that he just lost. Extremely, very surprising. Now, this is the side of, I want to say, yet. And Sashi will take him home, and Inko would be saying, "Where have you been?" Izuku had a bad bruise during cleaning. He broke some of his fingers. And he'll show, like, his 4 broken fingers, well, bandaged fingers. And that's when Izumi would say, "Aw, you had a boo-boo. Too bad. I hope it hurt." Izuku would kind of now say, "I'll go to my room." Now, Isuki would kind of laugh. "Look at the quirkless brat going to his room. He can't handle that." Now, this is when I saw she would say, "You really need to get into school." "Yes, I know, but why? I've been homeschooling him. I had to do a job, remember?" Inko would say, "Fine, I'll send him to the same school as Jumi, Isuki." The two would look and would say, "Mom, I'm sorry. It's just I have to. Your father can't always, homeschool the brat." Now, I would say the next day, she would say, "You're going to school." Zuko would say, "Why am I going to school?" Inko would say, "Are you talking back to me, brat?" "No." And he would get some clothes on. It would be casual clothes. Well, it's the uniform. And, they'll do the introduction. He'll be 6th, I'll be 3rd grade or 4th. I think he's around 9 when you're... No, I think it's 3rd. And he's in the same class as his bullies. That's when Koski says, "Oh, look, it's Deku." Well, welcome to the fun, Deku." Everyone be like, "Why are you calling him Deku?" "Because he's a loser, a nobody. He's quirkless." And that's a class will look, and they'll burst out laughing. "Oh, look at that. He's quirkless? Well, that's something." Izuku would kind of look down, and he would put his head on the desk and kind of like, "I hate this." Now, Izuku would, after school, and Toshidori would say, "Izuku, so Toshidori, what are you doing here?" "Your father said I should tell you about it yesterday." So, come with me. Your father already told your mother what is going to happen. Oh. So, Toshinori would tell him that you have my quirk. Huh? And then, if he found a secret area, he would buff up saying, "That's right, young Midoriya." Izuku would say, "You're all mine, Toshidori?" "Yes, you can call me Uncle Toshidori." No, that means I have your quirk. Yes. I will explain the information called One for All, passed down through the generations. You are the ninth user. Now Izuku would say, right. After, this, he would be training with All Might every day after school. But Izuku would never, ever show to anyone that he had a quirk. Because, well, then the question will just be piled up on him. Now, during around the first year of middle school, he'd be automatically just straight off picked off on by his 3 bullies. Now 6 goes back to goes goons. And they'll just continue bullying him for that first year of school. Now, Izuku would think of an idea, but he wouldn't put it to plan yet. Now, that's when, after walking home, then he would hear a clink, and then the guy would say, "Don't move, kid, because I don't want to put a bullet in your head." Izuku would now just kind of be shaking, and he would try to look, and if the guy would say, "If you look at me, I will put a bullet in your head. Did you hear me?" Yes. Good. Now go to that corner over there. Now, Izuku would sit down, and then, why? Because I need something to give me some entertainment. Don't you think, buddy? Izuku would just be in pure terrified shock, and the guy would say, "Maybe I should put a bullet in here anyways, just to get it over with." Now, Izuku was about, as he put his hands up, the guy would shoot, and it would hit Izuku's to his ribcage. The pain would be unbearable as he would start to bleed. And the guy would shoot him some more. But as the guy would leave, after the cops arrive, they'll see him and the information will be told. And this is when Musashi would have said, "Alright, you are going to try to act dead, okay?" Izuku would say, "Why?" "Because you need to do this. You got shot by someone. The best way to get rid of your mother. So can you try to act dead? At least." Now Izuku would nod his head and he would close his eyes. And his heart would start to stop beating. And as it would start beating, he would... Sashi would say, Doctor, my son." And the doctors would come in and they said, "We lost him." Now, Inko would say, "He's dead?" Sashi would say, "Yeah. Are you happy?" His twin sisters and Bakugo. Bakugo would look and he would start to laugh. "Ha! Good. All he was a loser. Now his two sisters would actually be in disbelief, and they were said asked to be excused. Now, those sisters, his mother would actually that thought he would pull through. No, no, he didn't. Sasha and Nico would leave the door. Sasha would look to the side, and he would see that his wife started actually crying. Are you crying of happiness? She would look at him and just, do I look happy? Sasha would be surprised, and he would say, are you actually crying for the mistake of a son you had? You called it a mistake. Yes, I did, but I didn't want him to be dead. Now she would start to slowly just walk away. In her head, she would think, I'm so sorry, Suku. The twins would actually, his older sister would actually be crying somewhere else. Now Zuko would kind of be wondering, where is he? And he can't kind of move. Now, he would actually see the One for All users a lot earlier than this. Wait, why? Isn't that supposed to be a little bit later? He's been training with All Might since that he was in actually 3rd grade. So he would actually be around at One for All 50% power. Yeah, that'll be pretty toxic. At full cowling shoot style. He was still physically a trainer. Isn't that great? Now, there was, Sashi would. Well, he would actually ask to be alone with his son. That's when they would have put a fake version of Izuku that looked real. Also, one of Sashi's friends could make a clone version of Izuku and just put his body there. Because that version's already dead. Yeah, Izuku's clone has to be dead. So after they put a clone there, they'll take his real body and just one arm I would have taken it, put it somewhere, hit his body, and taken it to his house. Well, Toys R Us house. And now this is when Izuku would waking up from this little weird kind of dream. His heart racing, saying, what happened? And they said, you faked your death. That's all she says. I did? Now, the thing is, you can't come home, Izuku. That's what she would say. Why? So, what's the point of faking your death? Izuku would say, yeah. Now, they look like they are sorry. But maybe this is the best for you. I'll still come and visit at times, okay? You'll be staying with Uncle Aizawa. Now Zuko would look and Uncle Aizawa presented Uncle Mike. Zuko would nod his head. And sometimes probably Vlad King and Uncle Might. Then you'll eventually roam your way because you're gonna have to. Izuku says, yeah, about the One for All thing. Now, I would say they were moving to a different school, and this is when Aizawa said, alright, you need a new change of appearance. Zuko would say, why? Because they won't. Because you're all over the news. People are already having you on screens. What else? You were murdered, so the person who faked murdered you, called blood, that you faked your death, is actually a murder suspect. Oh, okay. Now we're going to change your appearance. So, Izuku would have spiky hair. He would have the same messy kind of hair, and it would actually be a red and blue with outlines of his past green, kind of there. So yeah, you'll have a reddish mixture of blue. No, white. I mean white hair with green at the very tips of his hair. No, it'll just be red and white tips. That'll make more sense for me. Maybe the green is just a little bit too much. So that will change. She would still act the same. They all think they didn't change his personality because his personality is pretty cool. Now, during his second middle school year, he would go by the name They also keep him as a Zuku. His last name will actually be Aizawa. Yeah, Aizawa. So that would be Izuku Aizawa. And that would work for them all. After his use of middle school, it'll be the last day. And teacher would throw the papers in the air, telling them they all want to be heroes and all that stuff. And a regular class day would actually go pretty well. It wouldn't show one for all off the people. Some people think he's quirkless. Some would see that sometimes he's actually looks like he has lightning quirk. Whatever he uses it during when he's in secret areas. So it's kind of in the air that is he quirkless or is he not? He has a quirk. The teachers know. Now, the 10 months of training of All Might would say young Midori just need to master more one for all a bit. This is when Izuku would have shot out ice right under his feet, destroying piles of trash in Deku Beach. Izuku would say, how did I do that? All Might would look and he would look disbelief and said, and I see things. Is that from his father? No. His father, his biological father, has fire. Maybe because of his wife? No, his wife. His real mother is actually Inko. Then how does he have ice? Now, as he puts his foot down, earth just sprouts up from the ground. All Might would be real confused what's going on. Now, as he could lift his hand, as one of his hands, left hand, as water would shoot out. Then he would look at his other hand, and as fire would come out. It was up his right hand. No, almost kind of confused, saying, he can't be with all for one. No. because he doesn't even know where off one is. Before, he couldn't even go anywhere. So this must be One for All's doing. That other half of it. It must have been Walking Family. And that's when Zuko with his left hand once more, and as just straight off vines would come out, and like vines of the forest, all that stuff. This is when all my thinks that this must be something else. Now, Zuko finally closes his eyes and think, okay, calm down. Next, he'll think of like an element. He'll think of lightning, and then he'll hear like crackling in his hands. As he looks down, he'll see that lightning's right in his hands, and as he'll be like waving it around, and as he'll direct it at a target, and as it would hit, Zuko would think, I have lightning. As then he'll think of Earth. And as then it would automatically change to Earth. And he'll think of forest. As he will shoot out kind of forest like. Then ice. Then water. Fire. This is when he would have thought of light. And as his hands start glowing, and he would shoot out like a ray of light. Very cool. And as then he would thought of darkness, his hands would be kind of in this fiery, purplish, blackish, bluish kind of flames. He would shoot it out, and it would kind of burn intensely more than a fire would. So then that's what he thought. As then up above him, the gods would kind of Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus would kind of smirk, saying, I guess he finally found it. Zuko would say, alright. Then he would meditate for the rest of the day. This is when, Zeus and his two brothers would speak to Zuko in his mind. Now, Zuko will be meditating, and then he'll be brought to his first place. Wait, where am I? You are in your mind, Zeus would say. And then he would see Poseidon, Hades, and God of all gods, Zeus. Zuko would look, you're Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. The Olympian gods. You stutter. Yes, Hades said. You know it very well, boy. I'm impressed. Very impressed. This would make the gods look at each other and nod their heads, saying, you have a power that's very strong and connected. You are kind of a god now. Poseidon would have said, I am? Hades would nod. You are, well, the elements that you have are connected to that One for All thing. So Zeus would say, I'll explain it to you. We gave you the power of each elemental dragon in the whole universe. You have fire, ice, water, lightning, forest, earth, shadow, light. Izuku would look and he'll say, wait. Poseidon says, yes, there is. Wind. That's the harder one to kind of conquer. But you still have it. Now, if you really, really want to use wind, you're going to have to really concentrate. And you must not let yourself get too angry. Because wind is actually connected to your emotions. And if you have wind, that connects to the lightning. So wind and lightning are two and the same. Izuku would nod, saying, okay. But why would you give this to me? Number one, you are quirkless. And those who have quirks can't fully tap into the power. They can only use 2 of the elements. Max. And with the original quirk, they would have 3. Now, cause of one for all, one of these of the elements had one for all being, so now they're kind of connected as one. He says, we're okay with this. One for all is kind of now part of it. And we can see that the elements wanted to take this all for one down because his destructive behavior. Wait, so they're alive? Kind of like one for all? Yes. Like one for all kind of has a mind of its own. They'll both do. So he chosen me to be worthy of both. They would nod. And Izuku said, so how do I control them? You can control the element part. The dragon part is a bit more difficult. Poseidon said, you're going to have to concentrate as what you think of a dragon. Izuku will say, alright. There's 3 stages of the transformation. Humanoid, semi, then full transformation. Now, for each one, you're gonna really have to find the full potential of the element and exploit its strengths and weaknesses. Izuku would say, that's pretty difficult, but I can do it. Alright, that's good. Now, during these 10 months, you're going to train on every element as best as you can. I will. Alright. That'll be all for us. You come to this place to talk to us. Any questions that you need. And he says, we'll be there for you. And as then they will disappear, and we'll get back to the world, back to this world, and he'll tell All Might what happened. All Might would tell Aizawa, Vlad King, and President Mike, and that's actually what happened. Now Sasha would say, well, that's something. Huh. Yeah, it is. Now, I have powers of elements as he started messing around with the water in his hands. And that's when he was just flicking around, and that's when it turned red. And Deku said, this looks like blood. All Might looked closer, and I said, that is blood. So that's why you never can bleed out. Because this water side gives you a boost. Cool. That means my skin will be hard to penetrate. That'll be earth. Yeah. And as he would turn it back to water. So sub-elements of it, those appear as well. Then as he would now try to concentrate his mind, and as he would start to float, as I always say, how are you floating? Wind. Wind, as I always said, but you can't control wind. It was in there, in me somewhere. I just need to keep my emotions in check with this one. And I still be floating around. Because if I don't keep it in check, I can actually access my lightning, and the two are connected. As I would say. Okay, that proves the point. And he would, and such I would say, so how are you going to tap into the dragon power, the dragon type of it? And Deku would look and he says, I really don't know. But I can try to do the humanoid. That, I guess, is kind of easy. He would show like a giant. Well, his hand would change into a claw. Like a dragon type of hand. Okay, I would say. That's good enough. Alright. They would train for the rest of 10 months. And after that, Izuku would cut down of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 8 out of the 11 elements. Like there's earth, fire, wind, ice, water, wind, darkness, light. Yeah, I think there's 11 of them. Because there's 8 in this. Wind is 9, light is 10, darkness is 11. Yep, I was right. He would conquer 5 of them. That would be water, ice, lightning, and earth and grass. Water, ice, lightning, earth, and grass. Earth. No, grass is actually forest. That's forest, not grass. So yeah. So the 5, and he can transform into the semi-dragon forms. But not the full transformation. Just semi. And if you do not know what a semi is, they're like these kind of dragons. Yeah, they're like these dragons right here. That's just, yeah. Now, as you will find out that there's more elements like plasma and the galaxy. That galaxy. Those are other two. They're very difficult to control. So he'll do those last. But he's only conquered 5 of them. Now, after the 10 months of training, you're going to be kind of nervous, saying, so, can I just dye my hair back to what it was? As I would say, no. I act the same. I do the things that I used to do. It won't make a difference. If you want to change your hair back to it was, alright. And you're gonna make a pot of water with some soap. Because you can do that. Because soap is actually a liquid. Because, soap everything needs water to make. You can't have, like, something in the world, like, products to use and not have water. It's literally impossible. So, after mix soapy water, he would put it on his head, and it would kind of be rubbing on his hair. And as his hair would turn back to his natural greenish, blackish outlines. Zawa would say, "You can do that?" "Uh-huh. If I can make that water turn into blood, I can sure do anything else with the other elements. With the 5 concrete elements I have." Now, he would now just jump into the air and make a wind, kind of tornado vortex that he's just kind of now sitting on. And I would say, "Oh, you brat." Zuko would say, "I'm not a brat." Alright, go to the practical exams. I'll see you in class 1A later today. Alright. The dorms were already made because Nezu would have known about this. So that's another reason why I'd have dorms. That's the reason why I'd have dorms. So after Izuku gets there, he would sit in the same spot that he would. Now, the next person sitting next to is Koski. Izuku would kind of panic, thinking like, don't recognize me, don't recognize me. And he was like, "Huh, who are you?" Nothing. He would kind of shrug off. Now, as he would continue, and everything would go to the original. After getting the same test score that he did, until they get to the practical exam. Now, President Mike would say, "Alright, today we're gonna be doing the practical exams. You have 3 options. You have the 1-pointer, 2-pointer, and the 3-pointers. You take those out and gather as much points as you can." Now then, is he going to be muttering to himself when a voice would have said, "Sir, there's actually 4 of them. And this is very, very bad for your reputation. If this is on your side, I am very deeply disappointed." And I see a point saying, "You! Stop your muttering. Voice is annoying. Please leave. Please leave. You're disturbing us." Izuku would turn and he'll say, "Me? No matter what I can say, I have to be here." Izuku would say, "I kind of didn't want to." And Izuku would say, "And you're the one who's talking. So can you please be quiet?" The boy would say, "Ugh," and he would look in embarrassment and say, as he would sit down. Now he would say, "Thank you, Izuku. Yes," and Bakugo would think, "Izuku. Now, yes, there's 4 robots. That's the 0-pointer. Any little name, you get 0 points. So, it's just an obstacle. Avoid it." As they all leave the room to go to the outside, the fake training, fake school. Izuku would say, I'm ready. And as his claws his hands would transform into claws with water around them. Everyone thinks, does he have like a water quirk? And then charging with draw with wind. And they would see like ice would go around his arms. And as he would jump over the bridge, jump over the door when it starts, as it'll be a little cracked open a bit. As it's fully open after 2 seconds, they'll be like thinking, why is he getting points? He hasn't even said go yet. President Michael said, "What are y'all waiting for? Go? There are no countdowns in real battles." And they'll be all shoot. And as they all would have started running, they all started running, and Izuku used his water abilities: ice, earth, forest, and lightning abilities to just crush them, use moisture, freeze, or just zap them completely to turn them off. Now this would be the case, and Izuku would start to change between ice and fire. Todoroki would see this as she would kind of be like, he is using his quirk. Ugh. Actually, he'll be he. Whoop, I said she. What on earth is wrong with me? He's using his quirk. Tch. Now, then they will start to freeze. Zuko will start to burn and freeze everything. It would not. Every robot in his way, 1 to 3, would be burnt to metal. It's like melted to how hot his flames can get, or just be completely frozen. That's the two options. Or crushed, just zapped, or just been covered in kind of force-like things. Or just be really moist with water. Now, after thinking it's time to take it to the next step, he would transform into a red fire dragon, the semi-fire dragon, and as to he would have like a flame kind of mane, and as he'll be like burning everything in sight. Then he would transform into the ice. This is right over there. I'll use that white dragon as ice and air and light. He'll freeze everything into frozen popsicle sticks. Not students, but just the robots. Until he would hear a loud sounds. And as he would transform to a lightning dragon, and he'll look around as he works on a 0-pointer. He's just thinking it, I am not big enough to take that thing down. I'm gonna head off. And that's when he started to book it. That's when he heard him cry for help. As he looked down, seeing a black-haired ponytailed girl being trapped. He looked and he said, okay. Even though I know I can't lift the rubble, I can try to lift it with earth. Now he would actually use the earth and make an earth kind of a hand to grab the rubble on her and just lift it. Now he would actually change into a lightning dragon and use the wind, use lightning, and call a storm. Everyone would be like, what? How many quirks does he have? And as then, with a bit of one for all, with it, 50%, no, it's like 5%, to strike it down with a giant lightning bolt. Completely just roasting the 0-pointer. Malfunction as it falls back. Now, Nessie would say, he's gotten stronger. Very strong. He would change to a fire dragon. And and burnt the 0-pointer to a crisp. Now, as he fights down, he'll pick up the girl, take her to Recovery Girl. You'd think that maybe this would work as he turns into a water dragon or semi-dragon, and use the water to find the wounds, some of scrapes or cuts around that she's bleeding, and use it to, well, give, as it goes, turns into blood, the water works around, go to the cuts as it enters, turns into blood the moment it enters. And this would actually heal her, as the cuts would kind of close, and she'll say thanks. Izuku would go back to normal. Said, no problem.